really is the simple things in life that are so gratifying. Sunshine, nature, walks, quiet time. But we all need to produce. We all need to earn a living. We all need to make money. So balancing those two and giving yourself some of what you need, that rest, that pulling back. Sometimes it could be just a 10-minute walk. Sometimes it could be just a bath or a warm shower, or just, hey, I need a pause. And making sure that your spouse and your family know, hey, I'm overstimulated. Everyone just needs to give me some time right now. That is so important. I do that all the time. When things are just crazy and chaotic, it could be 10 o'clock in the morning, or, if you have a job, maybe after you get home from work or whatever time, I need to take a bath. I just need to put on worship music, light a candle, put on some bath salts, and give me 15 to 20 minutes. Nobody bother me, and I just need that reset. And it's really powerful. So if you don't have the luxury, or you don't have the time to go on big trips, or you're not going on vacations all the time, weave those little things into your life, and it will do wonders for your soul, your spirit, your wellness, your well-being. Even just a 15-minute walk, just standing in nature, like the simplest things can make the biggest difference. Even cleaning and taking care of the home can be really therapeutic. I actually like that. So in the morning and in the evening, I have a little reset. I don't like to leave all of my to-dos for the one day of week and then do a full-blown house clean. I like to tidy up in the morning, and then I tidy up at night. And they're a little bit different, but it's basically just a little reset. And it's a routine that is healing, rejuvenating. My kids know, my husband knows, it's something we do. We make the beds in the morning, we unload the dishes in the morning. At night, we load the dishes, and it runs at night. So it's just different things to help kind of sandwich in the day, so you're not overwhelmed and you're not living in clutter all week. And then once a week, or every 10 days, it should be every week, you pull the sheets off and you do more of a deep clean. But during the week, we keep it that way. So it's not like, I'm spending one whole day doing, this major cleanup. So when you learn to weave these things into whatever season in your life, it really makes a big difference in the quality of your life, and then not feeling like, I need to get away. You're not going to snap. I need a vacation. I got to get out of here. The other thing is, I'm not a big drinker. And a lot of people ask me, well, how do you deal with stress? How do you deal with these things? I might have a couple glasses of champagne twice a year. Usually it's around at a Christmas party or something like that, maybe somebody's birthday, and that's about it. So not only does my body feel better, my skin looks better, I sleep better, I'm healthier. Alcohol is so toxic. I don't care how anyone tries to justify a little bit at a time. It is so toxic, full of inflammation. I mean, red wine is obviously proven to be okay on the body, but I prefer not to have any most of the time. So if I'm feeling overloaded or stressed out, my go-tos are rest, walks, and fitness. Like, those are my major go-tos. And then once a month, I do like a movie date with my husband. Really, like once a month, we just unwind and watch a movie and tell the kids we're going to bed early, and then we take the night, and that's our date night, in the room. I mean, we have sex more than that, but that's the movie night. So doing things that are going to refuel you during whatever season you're in life, and then cutting down on the things that are producing the anxiety and the frustration. That's key. So as you're weaving in some restful moments, like this morning when I did my house chores, I put on a nice coffee mask. So I'm nurturing my face as I'm cleaning the toilets. And then at night, last night, I did a castor oil pack. If you've never done one, it's really powerful. You got to get good, you can message me if you're interested in a really good castor oil that's not crazy expensive. But you got to get the good stuff. And this is really good for detoxing and debloating. It detoxes your liver, and you can sleep with it. So you wake up and you're debloated, go to the bathroom. It really helps get things going. Kind of gives you like a little reset. So you're maximizing as you rest, you're detoxing, debloating, and as I'm cleaning, I'm refreshing my face. Right now, I'm walking, getting sunshine, and doing content. So you're combining things that are producing and that are healing, nourishing, rejuvenating, and you're being productive all at the same time. I also don't engage in a lot of like activities that are pointless, like chit-chatting on the phone, unless there's a purpose to the conversation. But I don't like to talk just to talk to somebody, like, oh, hey, how's it going? Like catching up or whatever. I don't know, that's just me. So I'm very intentional about life. And so you have to be intentional about what you're doing and really cut the fat. And again, you might hurt people. If you listen to some of my other videos, this has to do with simplifying in all areas, simplifying your home, decluttering your life. It's a life purge. And it might sound really mean to say, well, what, you're not going to be friends with those people anymore? Well, maybe for the specific season that you're trying to grow and change and develop, maybe they're holding you back. And so you have to be honest with them and honest with yourself that, hey, this is hurting me, and I can't do it during this season. Maybe you have a friend who that they like to, that's the friend that you go out and get a drink with. Well, maybe during this season you can't hang out with them because that's the friend that you do that with. So everybody's at different stages and different areas in their life. And again, don't feel like you need to apologize if this is something that you know is going to benefit not just you, but your family. Remember, you're changing the generations that come after you. So if things have been going a certain way, it's up to you to say, I'm not doing this anymore. This is stopping with me. Whatever this bad habit is, whatever this toxic lifestyle, toxic relationships, this is stopping with me. I'm not going to have my kids live this way. I'm not going to have my kids grow up this way. I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. And you put a stop to it. And, you know, if people don't respect that decision, then that's on them. But you need to be the one who says, you know what, I'm not going to allow this behavior anymore. Whatever behavior it is that's causing, that's destroying your life, basically, you know. And sometimes people don't even know about the behavior because you hide it so well, or you play it off like there's no big deal or whatever. And if you want things to change, you have to be the one to change. I learned a long time ago that I'm not going to change anybody. I am not going to spend my time engaging in relationships where that person, you know, sometimes you'd be like, okay, they're getting it today. I feel like we really got to break through. And then they're back to the same way they were the day before. And it would happen over and over and over again. And I'm like, I'm just wasting my time. If anything, you're enabling them. And backing out, removing yourself. Like if there's a gossip circle, remove yourself from that circle. Because you don't ever have to take back something that you didn't say. Remember that you're responsible for the words that come out of your mouth. God says that you're going to eat the fruits of that. So if you don't say anything, you don't have to take anything back. Sometimes silence is all that person needs. Like, hey, I'm not even in this conversation and you guys are still talking about me. But if you don't engage and you don't speak when you don't need to, hold your tongue, you are you're demonstrating with your life that you mean business, that you're setting boundaries, that you're no longer engaging and tolerating in things that are lower, these lower things that are stealing your life. And being involved in everybody else's problems and everybody else's life, it's none of your business. Focus on that's the biggest change you can make is you. Because that spreads to your family, your kids, your spouse, and then it spreads to the community around you. And the more you fix yourself, again, this is not about being like, oh, I'm so focused and I'm narcissistic and I'm just all about and obsessed with myself. It's not about having a self-obsession. It's about getting yourself to the place where you can be healthy enough to then pour into other people instead of just absorbing all of their problems and letting them weigh you down. And you thinking that you're making a difference. And then you're all busted up at the end of the day. And you're feeling, we all know that feeling. Like after you get done talking to that person, you're like, man, I need a drink after that conversation. I am stressed. I'm like, hopeless and depressed. And you're just confused and chaotic. And then you pick up the phone the next day because you're like, oh, well, this person needs me. They need to talk to me. And you end up feeling guilty. It's a form of manipulation. And then day after day, your body's responding to all of that you're absorbing, and you're literally making yourself sick. So that you're allowing that person to destroy you from the inside out, because that has to go somewhere. When we are dealing with all these negative emotions, guilt, resentment, really massive amounts of stress, did you know that actually affects the pH level in the body? And when the body is extremely acidic, it has a higher chance for cancer. It's the perfect environment for cancer to grow into when you have an extremely acidic body. And studies have proven, you can test, there's been water tests and stuff like that, but you could test your sweat. And so if you are taking all of this in, right, and the person that is unloading on you is just going on their merry way, like, oh, no big deal. And now you've absorbed all of those problems and all of those burdens, and you're heavy for that person, and they're not doing anything to change. Now, this is different than you're walking alongside somebody as they're going through a difficult time in their life. This is two different things. If somebody is going through a difficult time, they lost a family member, they lost a spouse, they lost their job, they're maybe struggling through some financial hardships, and it's a season that they're in, and you know that God has called you to walk alongside that person and really help carry some of that burden, because they are doing what they have to do to exit out of that season, or they're going through grief. But so that's different. What I'm talking about is the chronic seasons. Like, this person's been in this season for a decade for no reason. They're just there. No matter what happens, they're always complaining, unloading, dumping on you. They don't want to change. They have every excuse why. It's this, it's the, this, it's that, it's this, I can't. And it's just this constant. Those are the people that I'm saying, if you're trying to if you're trying to go somewhere, if God's trying to take you somewhere, those are the people you don't take with. You're dragging them along thinking that you're going to change them, and you're not, because the person has to want to change. They have to want to change. You're not going to change them. And what'll happen is when you start changing. So I had a friend where I was changing. I thought, I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to do this. And at first they were rooting for me. Yeah, you're doing so great. You're doing good. And then jealousy kicks in. And then, why do you have to push yourself so hard? How come you're showing up all the time? What are you trying to prove to everybody? Your standards are way too high. Nobody is good. Like, it got to the point where they were so affected and bothered by me trying to improve myself that I just thought, well, clearly we're growing apart, right? It's very obvious. So you have to see that as not everybody is going to level up when you level up. It might be your season. It might not be their season. Maybe they're not ready, but you're ready. If you're ready, take that opportunity, and God will bring the right people for you to walk with you and push you. And they're not going to be intimidated or jealous because you are leveling up your life. In fact, they'll probably be inspired and be like, man, let's do this together. Let's push each other. That's who you want. You want the friend who sharpens you. That's what the Bible says. Your friends sharpen each other. They don't gossip about each other, pull each other down. Secretly they're jealous and envious. They secretly want you to fail. There's more people that want you to fail than succeed. And really, it's because it's their own pride. They want to say, see, told you so. Should listen to me. I was right all along. Should have known better. And I've had that my whole life, because anytime you start taking off, it's turbulent, right? You're in midair, right? It's turbulent. You're like, whoa, I'm going. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going. And all the people down below are like, what are they doing? They are living beyond their means. I mean, every little cliche phrase, living beyond their means, greedy, they're going after big things. I mean, you name it, I've heard it in my life. I still hear it to this day. I still hear it from people down below. They're still talking about me and gossiping about me and having their conversations. Can you believe? And, all this ridiculous stuff. But let them. That goes back to the Mel Robbins where she says, let them do it. You keep focus. It's like the horse on the race where they got the blinders on. Focus on your race, and don't let all of these people who are on a much lower level or different level distract you or take that away. You have to almost have a conviction of, this is what God told me to do. I don't have to answer to anybody. I don't have to explain it to anybody, because I'm doing what he told me to do, and I'm accountable for what I do. At the end of your life, you're going to be judged based on what you do and what you don't do. And being involved in things that don't need your attention, that have nothing to do with you, and that you think you're going to change that person, is just going to waste your time. It's going to pull you away. And meanwhile, while you're trying to help everybody else, or you're involved in all of their, life, what's going on in your own world, in your own life? What are the things that you need to change? I did that for many years, where I helped and I served, and it was great, and I really loved doing it, but at the cost of neglecting things that were closest to me. For example, my marriage, and being honest with myself, and working on the areas that I needed to work on in my life to be a better wife and a better mom. What would happen is I would end up giving my husband and my kids the watered down version, because when you wake up and you're fresh for the day, or you're feeling good, right? You're really feeling great. You're excited for life. It's like a purity. It's a pure oil, right? And then you're giving the energy, you're releasing, right? It's coming from you to that other person. They're sucking it from you, or you're giving it, whatever. And then by the end of the day, when my kids needed me, or my spouse needed me, I was exhausted. I was grumpy. I was frustrated. I was complaining to them about all my problems, especially my husband. Of course, not when my kids were little, I didn't complain to them, but my husband, I'd be complaining to him, and then he would get stressed out and get tired of it. And then I would start having health problems, skin problems, and a lot of it was my own issues with hormone imbalances, but I had some weird stuff. One time when I was was involved in a really upsetting situation, I developed this giant boil under my armpit, like the size of a golf ball. It literally popped out. So your body is responding to all of this. It has to go somewhere, and it's like, oh, what am I doing? Here you go. Here's a nice big lump for you, and here's a headache and a migraine all day, and here's some vision problems, and here's a lot of this we're just doing to ourselves. Our body's responding to the mental state that we're in. And we are allowing it. We're allowing other people to do that to us. And, we really just need to get things under control. That's what these talks are all about. They're about doing what you can do. You can't have such a big oversized goal to change the whole world if you can't first do your dishes and make your bed in the morning. Start with simple things that are going to give you good habits and give you momentum to continue moving forward. And these are like little wins. If you can get up 15 minutes earlier, maybe enjoy the sunrise in the morning, go for a walk instead of scrolling on TikTok all day. I know as you get older, it becomes like a way to connect, especially if you don't have anybody, and it becomes interesting. You're scrolling all day. Find an activity that you can do also. Maybe just cut the scrolling half the time. I'm not saying don't have any pleasures in life. Of course, we need that. But maybe half the time. So if you scroll for 2 hours, scroll for an hour. Set a timer. And the other hour, do something else. Now, if you're in a different season than me, of course, I'm just talking about the season that I'm up to in life. I'm in my 40s, so I haven't reached I'm not experienced enough to talk about what it's like to be in your 60s. Oh gosh, it hurt, because I've never been there. So, take this with a grain of salt that I don't know everything. I'm not trying to say I know everything and here's how you should live your life and do all of these things. I'm just trying to help the people that might be going through specific situations that resonate with this, because I realize there's not a lot of videos and people talking about tangible ways to really get out of destructive cycles, put up boundaries, and come up higher, and really just have that friend who says, you can do it. You can do it. You were made for more. God's got a race for you to run. And I want to be that friend. I'm that person to help sharpen you. If you want, keep tuning in, because these talks help me also for the season in my life. The goal is, though, no matter what season, is to declutter your life if you can. And if you are in a season where you're building and you're growing and you're raising kids and it's busy, try to declutter the unnecessary things that are stealing your time, stealing your joy, stealing your peace. You can never get your time back. This is the youngest you're ever going to be. And if you have breath in your lungs, there's still a purpose for you. You just may not know exactly what it is at this time. But trust me, you start removing those distractions, you get clarity, you feel grounded, you become more intentional. You start understanding, okay, this is my purpose for this season right now. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And God will confirm that with you. He'll even allow people to come into your life to help confirm it and say, this is your gifting. This is what you're doing. For me, I started I was an interior designer. To give you a little backstory, I realized I didn't really like going into everybody's houses and doing design work because there was a lot of stuff they had to get rid of. And I couldn't, and most people didn't want to. They wanted to hold on to it. A few clients did, but it did take a lot of my time. And so my business is Scottsdale Design Services. I'm in the process of rebranding into a different business, more of a lifestyle business, because what had come out of that was me dealing with, okay, I need to handle some of these areas in my life and pull back. And so I started documenting it, and I didn't share it. This is a season where I went obscure because I lived in clutter. I had maxed out credit cards. I had stuff in every closet. My garage was packed. I overate. I had inflammation. My hormones were imbalanced. I exercised sometimes, but really didn't know what I was doing. I was overly consuming. I was following and chasing every single trend. And I did that for like 10 years. 10 years. Went around the same mountain for like 10 years. Till I got to the point where I was just totally disgusted and stopped tolerating this and realized I'm not going to live this way and I'm not going to drag my family through this anymore. I'm better than that. And that is where everything changed. And when you are going one way, imagine like a big ship going one way and you're ready to turn that ship around. It's not like you don't just turn and go in the other direction. It takes time. You're turning. It's pretty agonizing because you're making some changes that feel so off. They're so uncomfortable. You haven't done this before. You haven't lived that way before, the new way that you're trying to go. And it caused a lot of friction. We're creatures of habit. So when you change things and you uproot, it's so uncomfortable because you're used to something. It's so much easier to stay in the comfort of what you know, what you've known for years, right? So, sorry, I got my mouth. So when that finally took place, I had reached the point of a desire. I had such desire built up, a stirring, a yearning deep down in my soul that I was never going back to that. I knew the results of that life. I will never trade my life for that lower version of myself. I knew I was made for more, and I was willing to do whatever it took. And a lot of people have told me, well, it's easy if you have money to do it. I didn't have money to do it. I had a drive to do it and a decision to do it. And I used every thing that I could possibly do to put together to say, I'm burning the ship of the past and I'm moving forward. I didn't just cut my credit cards up. I closed the accounts and tanked my credit score. Because when you close your credit cards, you tank your score, it drops because they were all maxed out. Then I had no available credit. But I could not give myself a way out. So it was worth doing. It was worth it. I didn't want to give a way out to go back to my old habits. So I did whatever I had to do that. And then when you're forced, you're like backs up against the wall and you're like, whoa, I have nothing to fall back on. Like there's no credit cards to fall back on, and my credit sucks. So I can't use that now, right? And I don't have a 401k. It's all gone because I blew it all. You literally are like, okay, God, you're taking, your faith becomes the currency, and you're taking that and you're moving forward and with so much faith and so much desire and yearning really for that newness, that freshness. And it is so stressful. I think that's when my hair got really thin because it started falling out. I was really stressed. But I made it and I kept walking and I didn't look back. And it's almost like in the Bible when the Israelites were in the wilderness, they went around, they were in the wilderness for 40 years. The promised land didn't appear just because they were ready to take it. It was there the whole time. But they had to have faith to go in and take that. And They didn't, for the longest time. They just kept going around the same mountain, doing the same thing and the same thing over and over and over. So God has what when you're ready for it, it's there. You have to be the one ready for it. And that's what I learned, was just like, wow, I could have been living a much healthier life 10 years ago, but I chose not to. I traded it for comfort. I traded it believing that I needed every trendy item. That was a huge, huge problem. I believed that if I bought everything that a lot of influencers would tell me to buy, that I would love my house, I would love my home, I would feel great, I would love myself even more. Like, yeah, this item is really going to make a difference in this room. And you know what it did? It didn't make a difference. It got me more in debt, and it cluttered up my home. And then I had too much stuff. And then I had to sell it, return it. I wasted time trying to get rid of it because I believed that it was some outside source or some outside thing that I needed to fix my life, fix my space, fix me, help me. And it wasn't. What I needed to do was get to rock bottom and build up the natural way, build up the way that God designed us. I needed to feel good about myself, so I needed to work out. I needed to do the work to feel good about myself instead of buying clothes that would make me feel good on a body that I hated. It was like, you have to do the work. You have to get down to I'm going to do it, and that's it. And you have to discipline yourself and really not have self-indulgence, but have self-control and do the work. Do the work day in and day out, and quit looking for the quick fix and the quick gratifications. Be willing to let some of those comforts go in the meantime while you're going through it. Like, we don't have a TV. I canceled Netflix years ago. There's just things. I stopped subscription boxes. I stopped going into stores. I stopped browsing, because what's browsing? You're going to buy. And the other thing, this was years ago, but I used to thrift all the time. Now, if you thrift for a purpose because you need specific things and you're like, I'm going to look for some clothes for my kids, that's different. But I thrifted because for the thrill. Oh, what can I find? And if you have that mindset, what happens is you don't feel like you won unless you found something. So when you leave with nothing, you're like, oh, I didn't really find anything. But when you leave with a bunch of stuff for $30, you're like, whoa, you're not going to believe. You tell everybody, I got all this stuff for $30, and it's all junk. If it were in a regular store, you wouldn't have bought it. It would have been junk. But because it was in a thrift store, it was amazing. So that's what I would do. Oh, so you felt like you won. I won today. How many hours were wasted doing that? On buying more crap that I didn't need and be like, look what I got. What a waste of a life. You're trading some of the best years of your life for that. And this is in my mid 20s. My kids were really little. Best years. Now, I spent a lot of time with them. I'm a good mom, so I don't have a lot of regrets, but I do have some regrets. And those are the ones that I traded when they were those little babes for chasing trends and finding a good deal. I traded life for that, for junk. So don't do that. So that's what these talks are all about, is get real. Let's get real. Let's change, let's do better, and let's come up higher.